Ever feel like you're your own worst enemy? Even when something's not good for you, you still do it. Or maybe you're caught between completely opposite emotions, unsure of which way to go. It can be exhausting, like being caught a tug of war with yourself. What if those conflicting feelings and thoughts weren't just chaos inside of you? What if they actually had something important to say and to teach you about yourself? In a natural world, snakes, when facing extreme stress or confusion, sometimes bite and swallow their own tails, which can lead to their death. This is a rare behavior that comes from a reflex, but it can be a striking metaphor for the suffering we may also experience when dealing with internal conflicts. Interestingly, the ancient symbol of the Ouroboros, the snake devouring its own tail, represents something else entirely. Among its many meanings, it symbolizes inner integration, renewal, and balance. Question is, how do we transform something that feels destructive into something that can guide us towards wholeness, towards growth, and the best possible expression of who we truly are? Let's face it, we all have moments when we seem to be at war with ourselves, when making unhealthy choices, perpetuating harmful habits, staying in those toxic relationships, or ignoring what we know to be truly important for us. What if I told you that there is a way to break free from these patterns? A way to understand those difficult and painful parts of ourselves and help them find peace? The internal family systems, or IFS model, offers a transformative framework for healing these conflicts and reaching a state of inner wholeness. My name is Kristina Revenko. I'm a psychotherapist and coach, and in this video, we'll explore the core principles of IFS and how it can help you truly get to know yourself and make peace with your conflicting parts. IFS teaches us that our personality isn't singular. In fact, it's made up of various subpersonalities called parts, each with its own role and unique gifts. No, don't worry, this doesn't mean that you suffer from dissociative personality disorder. It's actually completely normal. It's natural to feel conflicting emotions and have conflicting thoughts. You can be excited and anxious at the same time, like when you're planning a big event or trying to stick to a new workout routine. In relationships as well, you can feel ambivalent feelings towards someone, like kindness, love, gratitude, but also anger and resentment at someone, and all at the same time. And although this can feel really scary for people, it's true for all of us and for most areas of our lives. Just think about it. And then there are the moments when you don't really feel like yourself. You might find yourself saying, I was in another world, or I don't really understand myself. Or maybe you've observed this in others, describing them as two-faced or like a completely different person when engaging in a certain activity or going through something in their lives that suddenly reveals them to you in a different light. All these expressions suggest that deep down, we perceive ourselves and the others as having a core identity, the known, the usual, the normal one, and at least another one, waiting for the right moment to appear. Like how a werewolf transforms into a wolf, how Bruce Wayne becomes Batman to fight crime, or how Cinderella's carriage disappears at midnight, becoming a pumpkin again. And these transitions highlight how we can shift from one state to another, sometimes quite unexpectedly, just as we do eternally when different parts of ourselves take over. What if a werewolf could have a conversation with its inner wolf? What if it could inquire deeply about why certain conditions trigger it? The werewolf might discover the roots of its aggression, potentially connected to the desire to survive, perhaps also rooted in fear, pain, or even trauma. Maybe it does what it does because entire generations of werewolves before it did the same, and it doesn't have any other strategies to deal with the challenges it is encountering. And with an understanding of the purpose and origins of its difficult behaviors, it might actually find a way to meet its needs without causing unnecessary pain or destruction. In the same way, even the most difficult parts of ourselves, the parts that sabotage, criticize, lash out, and even engage in addiction and self-destructive behaviors, are actually trying to protect us, even when it doesn't look like it. These behaviors often originate from traumatic experiences or from unresolved pain, sometimes from trauma and pain that is not only ours, but it can also be transgenerational. Most of the times, the behaviors that we find problematic and we keep engaging in had specific purposes at the moment when they aroused. Maybe at the moment it was the only solution for us. But in time, things change. We grow, we mature, and strategies that could have been life-saving at some point can become counterproductive. By giving these parts a voice and a safe space to express their needs, by witnessing the suffering they are carrying, we can build compassionate relationships with them and help them release the emotional burdens they carry. Imagine that you've been keeping a lid on a pressure cooker, and maybe you have noticed from experience that the more pressure builds, the greater the risk of an explosion. But when you gradually release the pressure, everything inside calms down. For example, after doing this kind of deep inner work, we might discover that the part that once criticized us might start gently guiding us towards positive growth. A part that once was constantly on high alert may finally be able to relax a bit more and start focusing on creative or joyful activities instead of worries, right? And this is how true transformation happens. Instead of being trapped in the destructive cycle of the snake that is devouring itself, we can tap into the deeper archetypal symbolism of the Ouroboros and create space for transformation and for meeting ourselves and the world at a deeper level and in new ways. We can use what is difficult and transform it into a fuel for our growth. And what makes this healing possible is the self-awareness and the connection to ourselves. And the self is something really difficult to describe, but basically it's your core, it's the essence of who you are, and it's the you that is not a part. And of course, the self can be discovered only through direct experience, and it has the qualities of being open, courageous, compassionate, of having clarity even when our mind is obscured, much like the sun is always there shining even during the night and even during cloudy days. Imagine an orchestra where each instrument plays the same piece without synchronizing with others at all. Or let's make it worse. Let's say they're playing different pieces from different genres, from different eras, or different tones, each of them trying to overpower or completely silence all the other instruments. And unfortunately, this is something we can observe not only within ourselves, but also by looking into the world. So the self here is like the conductor of this orchestra, and it's the one that is able to bring light into this chaos, into this darkness, and by the power of its awareness, it's actually able to bring harmony into this big inner dissonance. When the self leads, our parts no longer need to act out in extreme ways. They can still preserve their unique gifts and purposes, but they learn to work together. And they are doing that by being truly seen, understood, and there are ways in which we can actually help them. And this might all sound a bit abstract, but It requires engaging deeply with your different parts and building trusting relationships with them, just as you would do with an external person. Any valuable relationship needs time, right? Needs an investment of attention, care, and meaningful experience together, right? Why would it be different when it comes to ourselves and our inner parts? So, building relationships with our parts is something that takes time. It's not a one off experience, but if we invest in it, we might be really surprised at the impact it has on our well being and on our resilience and capacity to deal with difficult things and create meaningful and lasting change in our lives. So if there's something I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Your mind is far more complex and fascinating than it seems. While it can feel overwhelming to navigate your different parts, there is a way to bring them into balance and integrate them. Rather than being the snake that consumes itself, that is fighting against itself, you can be the snake that sheds its old skin and decides to meet itself and the world at a deeper level, embracing a new way of living. Everything starts from where you are now, no matter how hard or how unpleasant is your current reality, and from a decision to be open about knowing yourself and about truly meeting yourself on all your different aspects, no matter how unpleasant, difficult, or dark, to truly meet them where they are and try to give them a voice, to understand what they actually need. And maybe you are even able to help them. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you find it helpful, give it a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content on personal growth, self-discovery, and living an authentic and meaningful life. Follow me on social media as well to make sure you don't miss anything. See you soon!